how to do that simulated trading.
You're watching CNBC, first in business worldwide.
Cyber Protector Secure Works hits the street. This Dell spinoff is the biggest tech IPO of the year. CEO Michael Cody is first on Squawk Alley. Today, CNBC.
Pain from your day can haunt you at night. Don't let it. Advil PM gives you the healing sleep you need, helping you fall asleep and stay asleep so your body can heal as you rest. Advil PM, for a healing night's sleep.
Jane loves to treat herself. So she loves new Light and Fit Crunch, Greek non-fat yogurt with delicious toppings like chocolate and almonds. Now that's a treat. Light and Fit Crunch. Feel free to enjoy.
Why do so many businesses rely on the U.S. Postal Service? Because when they ship with us, their business becomes our business. That's why we make more e-commerce deliveries to homes than anyone else in the country. Here, there, everywhere. The United States Postal Service. Priority you.
Among the stories that are front and center at this hour, checkout shares of Valeant. They are jumping in pre-market trading. Why? Because earlier this hour, we told you about reports that Valeant is in talks with the CEO of drug maker Perrigo to take Valeant's CEO job. Perrigo, of course, refusing to comment on that story, as you might imagine they would. Also, another big gainer this morning is railroad operator Norfolk Southern. It trounced estimates by 32 cents with quarterly profit of $1.29 per share, helped by cost cuts and other streamlining measures. And then ride-sharing service Uber agreeing to pay about $100 million to settle a class action lawsuit. The settlement allows Uber to keep its drivers in California and Massachusetts as independent contractors. The suit had attempted to classify them as employees. An important and interesting decision. Some labor people, though, as you might also imagine, quite upset about it. Joe.
Andrew, Caterpillar is reporting, trying to find a clean number here. If it really is 46, okay, that's not the number. The net number is 46, but then I'm told that there is an adjusted number of 67, which would be a penny below expectations. Sales 9.46 is above the street estimate of 9.39, so 9.46 is above, and what's this first quarter adjusted? Or I don't know what.
I think that may be a faulty headline. I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, that's a weird looking thing.
Because 67 is the adjusted number that they give in the release.
And I don't think that's a yearly number either, because the estimate for the year is 359. So I don't know what that is.
They do give you an outlook for 2016. They say that they have seen recent increases in commodity prices, some signs of improvement in construction equipment in China, and better order activity than we expected before at this leading trade fair. While we are seeing positive signals, other parts of our business remain challenged. As a result, we have lowered the midpoint of the outlook for 2016 sales and revenue by about 2%. They're now looking for revenue for 2016 to be $40 to $42 billion with a midpoint of $41 billion.
It's still above.
It's still above what the street's looking for at $40.6 billion. The profit outlook at this point, they're now looking for $3 to $3.70 a share, excluding restructuring costs. The previous outlook was $3.50 to $4 a share.
And analysts were already down at the low end of that at 359, but now this is sort of now above the midpoint of the new range, right?
They also give you some guidance on the restructuring costs. They're now expected to be about $550 million in 2016, up $150 million from the previous outlook. They say the decision to end production of our on-highway vocational trucks is the primary reason for the increase in restructuring costs.
And you can see it almost looks like a S&P 500 chart or an oil chart. It bottomed right when the market bottomed, right when oil bottomed, and it has been. I mean, the time to buy it, I guess, is when everyone was throwing it away at 56.
Right.
Now it's all the way back already to, it was at 78 before this news today. We're going to talk to Doug Oberhelman, as we usually do. He's on in the 8 o'clock hour, the CEO of Caterpillar, to talk about these numbers.
In the meantime, President Obama is making his case for Britain to stay in the European Union. He wrote an op-ed in the Daily Telegraph saying, quote, "Now is a time for friends and allies to stick together." The president's message not resonating, though, with the Brexit supporters. London Mayor Boris Johnson said it is paradoxical for the United States to support a federal superstate that would never be allowed in America. A vote on a possible Brexit is scheduled for June 23rd. President Obama is in London today, and he is scheduled to have lunch with the Queen.
Although unelected bureaucrats running the place with just executive orders probably appeals to some people in government in this country.
It's probably an American interest, at least that's the expectation.
No, but I'm
from a lot of
saying that
people
the
to have
idea
it
of, not having,
Yes, I know what
Congress
you're
make
saying.
laws and just
Yes,
sort
I know
of,
what you're
that probably is really appealing. Republican National Committee members meeting in Florida. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump calling on party leaders to reform the system for selecting a nominee, or else, he says, they're going to face a rough July when it holds a convention in Cleveland. But RNC leaders rejecting a bid to rewrite the rules. Joining us now, Dave Agema. He is RNC National Committee man in Michigan. Is it different in every state, Dave, where us amateurs or that aren't Republican Party members have no idea of the difference between Colorado and Wyoming and New York, and what goes on in your state?
Well, that's different in every state. In Michigan, for example, we're proportional, so a certain amount went to Trump and a certain amount went to Kasich and Cruz. So every state's a little bit different, but the rules have been in place for years, so the candidates basically should know the rules if they're going to try to compete. I think that's the problem. There's so many different rules in so many different states, it becomes a little confusing to the average person.
So,
but I think, go ahead.
No, I just wondered if you can give us any scuttlebutt on what had been going on. And at the meeting, was it a real push to make it harder for the Brahmins and the kingmakers to select a candidate? Was there a push to do that? Because they're not, that failed in a voice vote, right?
No, I don't think so, but there's no question we're going to be in a contested convention. So I guess if I had to make a statement for me, I don't represent all the other delegates that are here, the other RNC members, but I think the issue is there's going to be chaos in Cleveland, but stick to the rules. And I say that because we're going to have a contested convention.
We have a TV show, so we're going to, this is going to be the first convention worth tuning into since 1977. I mean, this is going to be like I don't know, like an episode of Survivor or something. This is going to be really...
Well, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
You're going to love it, because I think what you're going to see probably is nobody's going to reach that 1237 on that first vote. I think when you got Rubio holding back his delegates and you got Kasich in the mix, and of course Kasich doesn't meet Rule 40 where he has to win 8 states. Right. He's basically going to be a kind of breaker here, so nobody can reach 1237. So
he doesn't
what
meet
I suspect,
the rule where he doesn't meet the rule where you got to win 2 states.
Does he get to hold on to his delegates even though he doesn't meet Rule 40?
On the first vote, probably. But again, here's what people have to understand. All the states have elected individuals that were delegates to be on the Rules Committee for the convention. So our Rules Committee at the RNC really is sitting here blowing in the wind because it's the delegates who arrive just prior to the convention that will decide the rules for that convention. So that's kind of interesting because a lot of those people don't know the House rules or, Robert's Rules of Order, as well as the RNC members do. So those delegates will decide what happens, and there lies the rub. If they change those rules in some nefarious way to try to give one person the advantage over another, then there's going to be a price to pay within the GOP, because a lot of people, both on the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, are kind of fed up with politicians and politics in general, so they don't like to see that. So I think if that happens, you're going to see people drop out.
Dave, this is Mike Jackson. So Donald Trump is complaining about the unfairness of the Republican Party. That I observed that he's received a greater percentage of the delegates than the percent of vote that he has. So what's unfair?
Well,
I don't see his point.
Well, it's the delegates that decide. That's the thing. And so what happens here when we meet in Cleveland,
it's a separate
those
question.
delegates will
it's
decide.
A separate question.
Sure.
He's received more delegates than he has as a percent of the vote. So
he's
nothing
complaining
unfair.
about the rules, but the rules are benefiting him to some
The rules are
extent.
benefiting him so far, so there's no complaint there. And as far as if he doesn't get a majority and it goes to an open convention, well, that's the entire history of the political parties, that if you can't get a majority going into the convention decides. There's nothing new
That's
about
exactly
that.
correct. That's exactly correct. So the rules have been there. I think Cruz probably knew the rules and played the rules better than Trump has so far. But politics is really about perception, not reality. So when people see, for example, like if Trump goes in with most of the votes and most of the delegates, but doesn't win, people think, well, there's something wrong that's happened within the RNC or the GOP in general, and they're going to be angry. That's why I think people have to understand that we're a republic and we're not a democracy.
Yeah, but that's
and
the way.
people,
You're not going to take the people that voted for him.
No.
Let's say he goes in with a 1050 or 1100, and then
Sure.
he doesn't make it, and then all of a sudden Cruz gets it at 800. I mean, that makes no sense to people that back Trump, and it's going to be really hard to convert them to Cruz people. So it's just it's the nature of the beast right now. Do you think Reince Priebus, if Trump is the nominee, can he stay?
Sure. I think, matter of fact, I was at that meeting for Trump yesterday. I went to all the meetings, and he basically says he'll work with Reince to do that if he's the nominee.
Who's going to
But
raise money
again,
for the party? If Trump is self-funding everything, the party is already suffering in all the local and statewide contests. He doesn't have enough money to back all those Republican candidates. This is not going to. It's going to be hard.
Well, you got to remember right now the RNC has a lot more money than the DNC does. As a matter of fact, I think we got about $16.5 million in the bank, and the DNC's got about $6.5 million. We got $10.5 million to run the convention, and Democrats only have about $3.5 million. Very difficult to run a convention with $3.5 million.
Yeah. Well, you got all
But
those fat cats like
So,
the Koch brothers and the Adelsons and everything else.
Dave, do you think it's
Sure, but-
appropriate for Donald Trump to refer to the possibility of riots if he's denied the nomination? You think that's appropriate language?
Well, I don't know if it's appropriate language, but I do think no matter who wins this, there's going to be people that feel that they've been disenfranchised with the system. So if Trump wins, the Cruz people are going to be disenfranchised. So either way, you're going to have people dissatisfied. But one thing's for sure, I think, in the Republican Party, we don't want any part of Hillary or Bernie because we want capitalism, we don't want socialism or communism. And I think that's what boils down for me. For me, as a 26-year veteran of the military, it seems like everything I fought against in my life was socialist made or communist made. So that's the whole issue for me.